Oh, what's going on, y'all? This Scorpio new moon is really asking us to shed a little bit of more layers, to have another ego death, to really manifest what you are really desiring. Let's talk about it.
Perfect.
These are the 5 things that you need to focus on during this new moon in Scorpio. All right. I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I came up and the 5 things I feel that there's a need to focus on so you can really tap into your deepest desires, really manifest what you've been wanting to create for a long time. I am a creative doula. My name is Koi, for those that don't know me. And I make content for my creative souls, my spiritual entrepreneurs, my soul-led business owners, so y'all can really know the importance of personal development and soul care to really help you break through those blocks in your business, all right? The new moon is always very dark. You know, it's like a clean slate, if you may, but it's really a time to look within. It's a time to look within to understand your needs so then you can actually take further action steps in a new way because um, a lot of people use the new moon for manifestation and rituals to call in new things, but I truly think that um, it's a time to sit with yourself so you can actually know what you're aligning with. Yes, it's a time of progression into because mm, within the weeks after, the full moon exposes what you need to reevaluate, or it blesses you with the things that you've actually, put that work in, right? And because I'm a creative doula, because I understand the basis and the intuitive ways that we connect through creative process, um, I just really love to connect with the moon too because I am an emotional being and the moon affects me in that such way. So here are some ways that can be intuitive or practical that can really help you get down to business. All right. So this, I'm going to be looking at my notes. All right. So like, don't mind me if you're looking like, why is she? Because I got notes. Okay. I'm not even going to front. I like to be more precise with this. So, um, we have the Scorpio season that we're in as we're recording this. Um, if I'm not mistaken, the Pluto has gone out of retrograde, right? Pluto is actually the ruler of Scorpio in Western astrology, right? Is it Western? Girl. Buckle up because I'm literally emulating how Scorpio new moon is going to be. All right, so Scorpio, right? It's ruled by Mars and Pluto, and its affirmation is I desire, right? It's intense, it's relentless, right? Emotional, secretive, distrustful, sexual, sensual, right? Observant, keen, penetrating, all right? It's like that drill. Scorpio will drill you down into the deep desires that you want. And it's also an investigator, right? So this is just the energy. I'm not talking about the Scorpio people that you know. Some Scorpio people may emulate that, but I'm talking about the energy here. And Pluto is the planet of personal power, empowerment, and sometimes it's very instinctual and subconscious, right? And it really teaches you how to deal with your personal power with others and with yourself so you can then in turn be empowered. Pluto, sometimes when you don't understand your own power, it's going to kind of come across as I'm going to overpower you, right? And that doesn't necessarily feel good at all. It does not. But I want to say the collective energy, right, for the spiritual entrepreneurs that I tapped into It's really like exposing parts of us where it's showing like, hey, knock knock. I think that this part of your ego needs to die, right? It's really showing things that are ending in your life, and the universe is telling you if you're right here at point, let's say you're at point F and you want to get to point G, you gotta like let go of this. You can't go around it. You gotta break through it. Like I said, that penetrating energy. And with the ego, we have shadows, and I feel that Scorpio, at its best, knows how to deal with its shadows because it's always kind of like, like covering up in a way. And then sometimes it exposes itself, right? I don't know, I'm just looking at myself. But it's like you may have to surrender a little bit more and ride this wave for this ego to really die. If you've been in a place, and I feel like we have collectively, right? But being in this place where we had like a false start, right? I'm always thinking about cars for some reason because they have this engine. And just like us, we have an engine of power, of energy. And if you've ever had a car that is a little bit on the older side and it's about to go, but you keep driving it because this is all you got, right? And in your mind, in the back of your mind, you're going to ride till these wheels fall off. And it did something one day where you were just like, oh, like it was a scare almost. Like, did this car really just die on me? And you stood there and you, like, maybe it has the engine ignition problems, right? I think. And if you turn the key, you're starting up, and you're just like, oh my goodness. Why? If you're smart, you take a break, right? You go back to it. You start it up and it's like, oh my gosh, it's starting, and then it dies. This is kind of where we've been. But this break, right, is telling us how are we really finding the balance within ourselves of self-acknowledgement and listening, trusting ourselves, and moving forward to what we need to do, right? Because maybe you need some tools for this car to get it started, right? Maybe you need something that can actually almost have like a band-aid on it to get to that A, B, C, D, F, G part, right? And maybe you have to check it, right? But I kind of feel like we also have been in that part where it's like you turn the ignition and it started and you're like, oh shit. Let me like we're praying to get to point G, right? And once you get to point G, your car dies and now you don't know what to do, right? So it's kind of like, where are you? Do you really need to start new? Do you really need to buy a new car, right? Do you really need to call someone up for help, get a second opinion, and say, hey, bro, can you fix this for me? Because I have a couple more miles on this car, and I really, really feel deep in my heart that this is where I need to go. And if you can just fix this for me to get there, everything will be fine. Copacetic. You kiss the car goodbye after you get there, right? I'm trying to show you a scenario because this is the energy I feel that we've been in. But you still have to finagle the car a little bit so it can work for you, right? You have to jiggle it, clap 3 times, and then do that. Do you really want to do that? And this is why you have to look within and tap into your emotions so you can be like, okay, I don't want to do that. Let's start from scratch. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get a new car. Let me, pull my big girl pants up and do what I need to do until I get the funds for the new car. right? And because we're tapping into a lot of unknown stuff too. The unknown stuff really is asking for us to trust. How well do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself? And do you trust your younger self? Because your younger self is going to tell you and help you with these emotions. It's going to help you with starting new creations. But you have to sit with it. You know, you have to sit with it like you have to sit with a teenager. You have to sit with it like you have to sit with a toddler. You have to sit with it like you sit with a baby. And do you have the patience to do that? That's the key. So let's tap into the 5 things that you need to focus on during this new moon in Scorpio. All right. Oh, I must say, buckle up and get some popcorn and some tea. Or tea, because I don't know who drinks popcorn with tea. So anyway, let's get it. All right. So number 1, right? Find balance between the mind and heart. I really want you to focus on the flow of receiving and then taking action. It's a gift, right? Because this whole like energy that I tapped into, because I do card readings, but I'm switching up a little bit for this. Spirits tell me I'd show my face. So it's like, let's just forget the cards. You'll see the cards another time. I really felt like this whole energy that I tapped into was really showing me the steps of a new way to manifest, the steps of a way or even a reminder of how your imagination births your creativity. And it's steps. And we're going to go through these steps because the first one, it showed me this card. Let me just show y'all. This card of dreaming. And it's really talking about surrender too. Right? Surrender. I surrender joyfully to God's love in my heart. When we surrender to our soul's guidance, we realize the greater picture of our lives. We also become aware of the help we receive to be free from burdens of the past or from negative energies that prevent us from seeing your inner strength and beauty. This is the whole theme of this. When we consciously surrender to the soul within, we can easily forego all else with simplicity and whenever necessary. And that's what I'm saying. Step 1 is really focusing on the mind and the heart, balancing. What do you truly want to align with? Like, truly, are you truly being yourself to align with that energy? Because the energy is going to connect with where you're at right now. And if your frequency, your vibe is at a low pace, and when people ask you, like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. No, you're really not. You don't have to share that with them. But when you go home, right, in your own room, in your own space, right? And please don't tell me you don't have that, because you can go outside in nature in your own time. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, y'all, is what you guys can do. Because I've been told, like, by people, like, oh, I don't have time. You have time for 5 minutes to yourself. If you do not have time, then we need to reevaluate your priorities and understand why you are not caring for yourself in the way that you need to. And I'm coming through like guns blazing right now, because I feel that a lot of y'all that are watching this needs that attention right now, needs that fierceness, and needs that truth, you know, and raw truth. No patting on the back, right? That raw truth. You can do that with your own inner child. But some of y'all, it depends where your inner child is. Some of y'all might be able to handle like that raw truth with your inner child in conversation, but others may not, right? And if the more that you focus on being in flow with love, tapping into that self-love, right? Listening, applying logic, right? With your imagination, your heart. When you're in the flow of imagination and creativity, all things are unknown, right? And beautiful and dreamy, and can also be deceptive, because it's like, oh, it is not a reality that's concrete. The mind can make it concrete if you allow it, with facts, right? With structure. And this is also about having union with yourself. The fluid energy of yin and feminine energy is receptive, right? And then that um, structured logic container, right? That form that allows all that stuff to go into it is the masculine energy. It allows you to take action, be assertive, right? With your intentions. But first, what are your intentions, right? So I need y'all to focus on your intentions so then you can actually align that mind and heart and they're speaking the same lingo. Ask your younger inner self, would you want to create with me, right? Do you want to create? What do you want to create, right? Ask that. Nothing comes up, cool. But ask that and allow that imagination to come out and be free, right? Because we need to remove the judgment. If the judgment gets in, logic gets in too much, it dampens it. And then the inner child has a temper tantrum. The inner child is pouting, and I don't want to say bitch on wheels, even though I'm hearing that right now, but you know what I'm saying? So give yourself time to daydream just a bit, right? Maybe it's in your morning routine. If you don't have a morning routine, maybe that can be your morning routine. Just getting up, stretching, just closing your eyes and breathing, and allowing your mind to wander as you ask yourself, what do I truly want to create? Um, what do I what are my deepest desires, right? What does the inner child want to help me create, right? And rock with it and see what goes. All right. Is there anything else that I left out? um the only thing that I want to tell you is I think that in the past a lot of us were doing things that we were told to do, or following suit from other people, and as a collective a lot of things are being deleted. Can't clear, cancel, and delete. So it's up to us to actually find it in ourselves, in our hearts, as well as our minds, to start something new. Be that inventor, right? Um, just do something, even, right? Allow the intuition to take lead. Do something and trust it, because then you can work on the trial and error when you actually know what it is. Okay. So I know that was a mouthful. Let's get to number 2, right? Focus on your skills, right? Because now that we have the imagination, we're focusing on the skills that we already have, right? The skills that will help us reach the goal. Because through that imagination, we're sorting through, like, okay, what do we really want? Oh, is that a bird? Oh no, that's not. That's just a few feathers, right? You're sorting through the imagination, and then you are actually getting clearer and clearer. The fog is dissipating, and now you're saying, okay, this looks great. I feel great. But how do I get there? Remember your skills, okay? Learn a new fact about what you're doing, and where you're trying to go with these skills, right? So you may need help in this phase, right? And some of us are a little bit afraid for asking for help. Some of us are a little bit afraid of asking for help. But as you can see, sometimes maybe you just need to read and do some research. That Scorpio energy, right? That penetrative energy actually reminds me of doing research and maybe going down the rabbit hole. Maybe. Because going down the rabbit hole actually allows you to use your imagination too, whether you know it or not. But it's blown away with a lot of things that get into your logic. I'm not going to say facts, because your mind has to sort through that to understand, is this real to me? And is this really a reality that is true? You know, the inner truth and the outer truth. Finding balance again. Gathering info that can help you know what you need to actually grow, what you need to actually move forward and take those steps forward. You can't learn something new if you think you've already know the answer, and you can't get help if you still are trying to do it all. You can't. If you think that you can do it all, especially in the back of your mind, then there's no way of cooperating. There's no way of having a relationship with the person that is actually helping you. Because again, going back to union with yin and yang, with light and dark, with masculine and feminine, they're all part of the same pie. They're part of the same coin, but there's a left side and there's a right side. There's a up and a down. So we're trying to figure out that union, bringing those two paradoxes, bring those 2 points to the middle. We have cooperation. Cooperation is a part of my daily living. Cooperation is the true healing for isolation. Isolation will, doing it all will isolate yourself from the people that you really want to be with. Okay? You can rewind that if you like, because I'm not going to repeat myself, but that's the truth. It's my truth because I've experienced that numerous times, and I do believe confidently saying that that is a fact. So it is impossible to remain isolated when your talents and abilities are serving the joy of working together for a common goal. Mic drop. Like, I don't think I need to say anything else. If you get it, let's move to 3. All right, so we're focusing on releasing the expectations now. Because now that we are figuring out, tapping into the, imagination, right? Trying to find that median point, right? Being open to receive and then taking action. Once you start taking action, right now, in this phase, in this time, is not the best thing to really grab on and be obsessed with some things. That's the lower end of Scorpio energy. And things can get obsessive and controlling, and we're trying to have a relationship with spirit, the universe, right? So it can align us with our desires. It can align us with our highest, most best, skillful self to then serve and share with other people. Some of you guys are trying to manifest communities as well. How can you show up for your community if you aren't really being true to yourself? Being authentic is truth, is speaking and acting the truth that you hold within yourself. And that does include your desires. Because if you're not connecting to your desires, what are you really hiding then? Right? And that may cover and sugarcoat certain things that can actually like dim your light, or just not be able to express your truth. And by expressing your truth is standing in your authenticity. And standing in your authenticity helps you align and connect with the people that truly see your light. Namaste. The light within you sees the light within me. And that's that alignment. That's that connection. So, last time many of us, right, thought things were going to look like a certain way, a certain thing that has been envisioned for you. And a lot of times when we meet that, that's all spirit. You know, a lot of people forget, oh, I manifested this. No, you just aligned. Spirit manifested that. But you aligned with that energy to meet you where you're at. Okay? And the thing about balancing yourself is that when you're creating, when you're in go time, when you're in that masculine energy and putting your foot on the metal, you still have to have some type of room And this is not being negative. This is just being facts. It's almost like that saying, you told God your plan and God laughed, I think. I probably chopped up the quote. But it's kind of like God already knows, right? There's already something there that you just don't know is how it's actually going to look. You can imagine it. That imagination that's not quite reality yet is helping you align with that. It's helping you build that energy, connect with the frequency to attract and align with these things. The feelings, right? And then you will meet that. Because sometimes, how do you know? This is just like the inner child. How do you really know you don't like that? I've watched kids so many times be like, oh, I don't like this food. You never even tried it. How do you know? How do you know? Because you saw it and you didn't really like it? And sometimes you do know, right? But when you're calling in something new, you don't know. And you're going to have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because a lot of times you do get in this wreck when things don't work your way. But it's reminding me of Four of Cups. There's something new coming in that you might not even know that you would like, but it is, because that's God, that's spirit, that's universe telling you, I do know. I do know. I'm trying to bless you. A miracle really isn't a miracle until you actually see the blessing. And if you can't see the blessings, then your frequency is lower, and you need to heighten that to tap in and align with love. Let me keep going because I wanted to make this 30 minutes, but I already see. But it's okay, because this energy is also about taking your time. Let's get to number 4, okay? Focus on your confidence, right? Confidence is not built off of a fake facade. Confidence is built off of courage and knowing your worth. All right? You always have a treasure of gold inside you. Always. But right now it's time for you to find that treasure within you, find that light within you, and know that you're worthy to receive these new things. Some of us subconsciously, right? Like I was talking about with Pluto, some of us subconsciously have been telling ourselves for years that you don't deserve XYZ because you only make a certain amount of money. You know, you don't deserve to be in this space because people like us haven't been in blah blah blah, right? You do actually deserve it. But how do you go in it, in that space, right? Feeling confident instead of cocky, feeling confident instead of arrogant, busting down doors, chopping off necks and saying, I deserve to be here, right? No, that's not confidence. That's actually acting out of a fear-based mentality, because you're afraid that if the truth really is exposed, right? And like I was saying, when you're running these subconscious programs in your mind, that's really the truth. It's better that you see the truth first than somebody else exposing it for you, because then you're going to feel pretty whack, right? When you recognize you're worthy, right? You recognize knowing that you have the skills for this. You remember how much you've practiced, right? And prepared for this. You remember and know that you've got what it takes, right? But you also have tapped into this frequency of love, self-love, that you have first and foremost, that you filled your cup with, that you are willing to also give to others, right? And work with others, work with spirit. Again, the yin yang. How are you receiving and how are you putting out? I did write, spirit is with you. You just have to love the decisions you're making and be brave to take action, even if it doesn't feel like the best choice first, right? Because if it doesn't feel like that, I'm good, right, in that moment, then that's a signal to take a pause, right? Take a break and figure out, what are you going to do while you're being patient with yourself? Because again, we can get caught up in, okay, I do know this is going to work. I do know this is worthy. I'm worthy to do X, Y, Z. But when you stay in that energy and not look at the other things that are really running in the program, remember, we're working with this symbiotic relationship here. It can go into full extremes. The full extreme is just that one side and not allowing the other side, because it's always, we are in a paradoxical world. It is always left and right. It is always yin and yang. But you have to accept the darkness with the light as well. Yeah, there is a part of exception, um accepting yourself of who you are, and maybe not being that skilled, but still knowing that you deserve that, right? Because can't nobody really tell you, like, oh, you can't be here. We have past history of people telling us that we can't be here, right? People telling us that we aren't worthy of this because you don't have enough money, your skin's not light enough or dark enough, right? A lot of things. But does that discredit the fact that you're not worthy of this experience? Are not worthy of learning these skills or receiving something? No, absolutely not. You are still worthy of that. But clearly that person is not the giver. That is not the giver of that worth. You have to know that. You have to, by you knowing that, you'll know that this is not where you belong. You belong somewhere else. And this is not aligned for me. I'm going to align with what does. All right? And don't beat yourself up, because we're moving to 5. Focus on one thing at a time with love and compassion, excuse me. With love and compassion. And let me tell y'all something. I know that I've been doing some things, like some readers like to show what comes out right away, but I don't need to prove anything. When you get to a point where you are accepting of yourself, of who you are, good, bad, ugly, whatever, right? And it comes in waves, right? And this new moon is going to give you a wave. But know that this popped out too. And what does it say? Compassion. And as I was doing that, I said it would be sweet for me to do compassion. And I was about to just look through the card deck, right? And find it. But then I was like, no, I was in my element. I was in my flow. I shuffled, pop, came out. Things like that never gets old. It always surprises me, because when you know that you are worthy of receiving unconditional love of spirit, of the universe, of God, you know that, what is the saying? Everything that is happening for me, everything is happening in the best way for my highest good. I think there was another way that someone said it, but I wrote it this way. And it doesn't matter, because I know that my intentions are still the same, right? And when you can be like that to yourself, right? Because some people have the biggest hearts, right? And give and give and give to people. But because they are lacking certain things within themselves, they're not really looking at some of these shadows, or this ego that they built, right? That has all these shadows, that feels unlovable. You're not accepting yourself. And you're not being compassionate. Compassion. You and I are one. When you are compassionate, we are able to understand others from deep within ourselves. This attitude brings a light that reveals truth and love that transforms and heals. To be compassionate is to be equal, one with another as with oneself. And I'm glad that it said that, because let's talk about with yourself. There's this scale that I don't remember the name of, but it shows energy frequencies that connect with your emotions, and how certain emotions are on the lower spectrum and certain emotions are on a higher spectrum. It has a higher frequency. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe, because I know I'm not right all the time, y'all. But I'd love for you to do the research. I'd love for you to find out and let me know in the comments. I believe that gratitude is above love. And compassion and love, right, connect you with joy. I do know that joy is higher than love. Because when you have these things, when you're feeling these emotions run through you, right, you're at its, you're not, I'm going to say at its purest, but it's pure because you're not tainting it with the ego of judging yourself. Judging yourself like, oh, but why am I crying? Crying is whack. Like, I don't like this feeling. It may not feel good, but it's helping. It's purging you to allow this energy to come through, right? And if we sit here and judge ourselves, we're also judging our inner self, because our inner self, our younger self, excuse me, children are so pure and innocent in a way. It gets tainted with judgment, right? Of shame is judging someone. When you judge yourself from guilt as well, that is an emotion that brings us down and is so far from compassion. This is the energy that I am bringing to the table here with you all. If you don't feel that where you're at right now, figure out what you can do while you're being patient. Because patience doesn't mean that you're sitting here waiting to receive. Patience is the energy of being receptive to what comes as you're walking your path. And being easy on yourself. And finding the grace, the goodness, the gratitude of your heart that can really help you align with what is meant for you, so you can be open to receive. Okay? So that's what I have for you. All right. If you're feeling the vibe, newbies, please subscribe. Thank you all that has listened to all 5 that is here with me. And I do have some new things going on. I definitely want you to check out the links below, because I'm working on a new project, y'all. Talk about starting things new. And things that I've been, listen, y'all, I'm not here to preach. I'm here to tell you about experience. And if you haven't checked out my Queen of Wands Club already, I'd love to invite you. I share with you entrepreneurial stories that share some of my experiences that aligned with my spiritual journey, because I'm all about spiritual entrepreneurship. I do believe that entrepreneurship is a spiritual thing, a spiritual journey, to get to know yourself, to get to know your skills, and to get to know and align with your soul mission, so then you can serve and give to others through your creativity in your process, right? And that's what I'm doing. And I'd love for you to understand certain things that I'm doing through my artwork, because I am also an artist, and I'm creating new images that are going to be within the card deck, and I'd love for your support. The easiest way to support me is by commenting in this video, because that helps boost, these videos here. I'd love for you to share with somebody that may love this video just as much as you loved it yourself. If you'd like to support me, you can just give whatever you can. Give a general donation, right? That goes towards the making and the whole process of this oracle deck. Or if you're feeling a little spicy, you can actually look at the items that you can buy. And the money towards these items that you're buying is going towards the greater cause. All right. So this is what I have for you. Again, if you're not a part of the Queen of Wands Club, I'd love to invite you. Check it out, because I'm also going to be sharing some courses with you guys as well. and just more things that can actually help you along your journey of entrepreneurship, along creating things, being in the creative mindset, that abundant mindset, and really honoring yourself of your unique talents. Okay? Until next time, y'all, I'm outie. Peace.